Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Formula One podcast, straight to the apex. The boys are all here. They're discussing the last race. They're discussing the next race. They're talking race news. Everything that's going on in the Formula One world right here on this podcast for you. Ah, that's nice, isn't it? Before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. The big one, if you know someone, you're like, hey, that guy I went to school with 15 years ago, he was mad into Formula One. I'm going to track him down using a private investigator. And when I find him, I'm going to say, hey, check out this podcast. Share the podcast around, people. That's the big one. Share it around. Right, let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast, straight to the apex.
Hello, and welcome to Straight to the Apex. I'm your host today, talking like Tony Rawson / William Shatner, but actually James the sexy bastard with the Lando Norris hairstyle. Stainforth. I'm driving this week, guys, so I'm in the driver's seat on the pit wall. I have hopefully not got the fucking Ferrari team. I have Mark Wilkin, almost as sexy as me. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm good, thanks. I'm good, thank you.
And the also sexy bastard, Anthony Rawson, almost as sexy as me again, who likes to use the same barber as me on the same day as me, it turns out. Twice now. You all right, buddy?
What a coincidence. Yeah, I'm all right. How are you?
Yeah, good. What's really funny is we've never fucking spoke to each other about it. Like, oh, when are you next doing with Ash or anything? It just turns out both in times we've been last.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, barber friends.
I don't know if we can actually give a shout out to the barbershop or anything.
Well, get a free haircut next time.
It would be good, but all I'm going to say is if you're ever in Beverly and you're looking for a good haircut, look for one that sounds like something to do with a college.
Yeah,
let's go with that. Not endorsed by them, but yeah, they're good.
Other barbers are available.
Yeah, but they're not as good.
there's not as good. There's a lot of barbers popping up nowadays.
Mate, I'm not being funny. I never used to like follow a barber or anything. It's just like I just need to get my fucking haircut. I'll sit in whoever's fucking chair it is and just cut the bastard. And when I found out that the guy that I always go to had left the place he used to be at, I didn't know what to do. And then when I found out where he was, that was it. And I've been with the guy since. It's like the Family Guy where Cleveland's like, oh, once you got your barber, you never leave him. It's like,
Gotta stay loyal.
Uh-huh. But yeah, so this is episode 12 of Straight to the Apex. As always, massive shout out to Andy, CookieCast and the rest of the crew. Still putting up with us. Still not editing anything I say, even though I am trying. I think I'm doing a bit of a Lando Norris here, and I'm just a little bit scared to actually push my boundaries out a little bit more. But I don't know. Let's say if Lando Norris gets a championship, then I'll push the boundaries.
Oh God.
Hi, Andy.
Oh God. I mean, where else can you go? I'm dreading to think, but there's places that have been spoken about off there. So
I'm gonna say,
I think we're safe. I think we're safe. Norris isn't winning jack shit.
Who knows? So yeah, recent race, Austria, home of Red Bull, or one of the homes of Red Bull, whatever you want to call it. First thing I want to say, did you see the flag in qualifying?
The flag?
There was a particular flag being held up during qualifying in one of the stands.
No.
No.
Really? Oh, lads.
I thought you was going to say about the truck hitting the bridge.
I saw that.
Yeah, but I didn't see the flag.
No, I don't remember that. Yeah, Max saw it as well, and he talked about it afterwards in an interview or something like that. Or he might have been playing online with a couple of his mates or one of the other drivers, and they mentioned it. There was a couple of fans who had made a massive flag, and it was Sid from Ice Age, and they'd put a Red Bull shirt on him and a Max Verstappen hat. It was fucking class. I've seen this thing, and Max is like, I've seen the flag, and he's laughing, but he's going, it's not nice.
I mean, he's not doing too bad for looking like Sid, is he?
Sid the Sloth, Lord of the Flames.
Got a lot of nice cars, a lot of money.
Rumours are he might have a lot more money.
This is very true, and this is my breaking news. I'm the captain. I sent the GIF.
You did. You are the captain. El
Capitan. Whatever you pronounce it as.
El Capitan.
Is it GIF or GIF?
I thought it was GIF.
I always said it's GIF because to me, GIF is something you put on your pancakes.
Yes. Yeah.
Other lemon squirty things are available in your shops, but it ain't GIF.
Correct. I think it is a GIF. So you said, go on, Captain. You said
I'll go with GIF. Yes, obviously we've talked about it a couple of times, and we keep going on about the get out clause and everything else like that, and we keep going. This get out clause seems to change every other week, but today there has been a lot of talks, and it does actually sound like Max is about to make a deal with Mercedes.
Whoa!
Did you not know that?
Of course I knew that. I brought it up last week.
Well, it might be, but today it's actually come out with the claims it actually is a thing.
I mean, who's it replacing? Russell or Antonelli?
I would replace
Russell.
I would replace Russell.
Because them two do not get on, at all.
So this is what I said to Charlie earlier. So it's that kind of, if you've got a car and it looks good for next year, and you've got a 4-time world champion who is not happy where he is and could be looking around, and the only issue you've got is that one of your drivers really doesn't get on with him.
There's been rumblings about this for many, many weeks, hasn't there? And it's kind of all come to fruition now because it's Silverstone, it's the British GP. George Russell has been doing relatively well, and these are words that Brundle's already really spoke about this week already. Why hasn't he got a contract? His contract's up next year. Why hasn't he got it? Well, Max Verstappen has been in the shop window for the first half of this season. Where is he going to go? And again, Brundle made a really good point. There's a lot of talk about Max Verstappen and Mercedes, and there's a lot of talk about Russell going somewhere else, maybe Aston Martin. Nobody has categorically come out and said, no, that's not true. So it's kind of all coming to fruition right now, and I think George Russell is looking at his options. I've heard this week maybe Red Bull. George Russell at Red Bull, which is ridiculous. I think that's extraordinary. And supposedly the Mercedes are going all in on Antonelli. I just feel really sorry for George Russell. Very, very sorry.
You have changed.
You know what? I do. I feel a bit sorry. What else can this kid... I mean, it's well documented. Tony has turned. He's Mr. #1 George Russell fan. I think me and James are still on the fence. He's still Woody. But what else can that kid do? He's leading the team. He's getting podiums. Is there something in the background he's not doing? Or is it just the fact that Max Verstappen's available? Well, you'd be stupid if you didn't take a punt on him. Or does Max know what in the background Mercedes next year rule change? It's a bit like the Lewis Hamilton era when he left McLaren. He knows that their engine and maybe the car is far superior, and he thinks, you know what, I'll go and win it at another team. Because of all the shit going on at Red Bull. I do feel a bit sorry for George, I really do. But then equally, I don't.
The thing is with Max, he's always been very open about his end goal. He's not just going to want to fixate on F1 his entire life. He'd quite happily just stay with 4 world champions. Granted, he's always going to want more, same as any other F1 driver, and he will always go for more. But at the same time, he when he's ready to hang up his helmet or his boots or whatever you want to call it, he'll do it, and he'll be quite happy to do it. And he's shown that, and he has changed in his behaviours off the track since he's had his kid.
But his passion for racing in general.
He's absolutely obsessed, but
so he's going to move, isn't he? Definitely going to stick around in F1 for a bit longer.
He's going to stay around for a little bit, but he's not going to be like. I can't see him being like your Schumachers or your Alonsos or your Hamiltons who are just they're still going to be there in the 40s and.
No, he's going to go early, isn't he?
Right, they would. He'll go. He'll go when he's ready.
Was it? I'm sure it's Sky Italy, I think, that's reported that the Max and Mercedes deal is done. They both won. It's just half the board at Mercedes have said yes, and the other half are undecided. Take that with a pinch of salt. It's Sky Italy, supposedly they're not the most.
They're worried about the brand. I mean, Max Verstappen's not very German, is he? As in, George Russell is your driver on the grid now that's very German and very on brand. You tell him to go advertise a new salad cream or mayonnaise, he will do it with a big smile on his face. You ask Max Verstappen to do that, he'll probably tell you to fuck off because he don't want to do anything. So,
but is this the thing? Because the other thing you've got to remember is Max being Max. Let's face it, Max doesn't win a race. Max is still the one we talk about on this.
Yeah.
He's always in the spotlight. He's always being watched.
Yeah, but I think
and it's talked about.
I think you could spin that the other way, though, and I agree with Mark to a point. If he's not winning races, it's only negative connotations towards him, and is that what the Mercedes brand want? There's 2 ways you can look at it. If you were Max Verstappen, would you sign for Mercedes or Aston Martin for next year?
Mercedes.
Why?
Because they're throwing everything into this one guy.
Main manufacturer, not customer team. Absolutely what James said.
I think I agree. It is a bigger risk to go with an Aston Martin, isn't it? But
huge.
An Aston Martin to acquire him would be huge for them.
So
I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm not sure.
The thing that Mercedes have got at the moment is, and Brundle touched on it as well, and so did Christian Horner. I mean, Christian Horner did his little fucking dickhead comments, didn't he, this weekend when he was talking about it, and he said something like, "Oh, well, he's probably still crying because he hasn't got a contract for next year." And stuff like that, and which is why one of the reasons I am really hoping that this is solid and it gets announced very soon, just to see Christian be like, "Oh,
do you know what?
Oh.
I've just thought of this after what you've just said. This is I'm not just talking about Max here. This is his dad, Josh, as well. This is a very Verstappen thing to do. Josh has fell out with Christian Horner, who is his most hated rival. Christian Horner's Toto Wolff. So for Josh Verstappen to say to Max, come on, son, let's go sign for Christian's arch enemy. You know, it's like someone playing for Everton and going to Liverpool, or someone playing for FC and going, I mean, FC Rovers, we do swap players, but Christian Horner hates Toto, whether it's jealousy, whether it's envy, I don't know. He's just got this absolute bee in his bonnet about Toto Wolff. It's very Jos Verstappen for all the public fallouts to say, do you know what, son? Let's go to him.
And for all the listeners who like to wear tinfoil hats through the day and stuff like that, because, you know, the man's watching, look how Max reacted this weekend when he was taken out in lap 1 by a Mercedes car, but it wasn't George.
Yeah.
He went over, he's like, oh, you all right? You all right? Oh, come on, we're brothers in arms, we're brothers, and all this kind of stuff. He's like, oh, that was really, you know what? And we were saying, you know what? If that was fucking George, it'd have lamped him. But now we're just like, maybe he signed a deal. And they're like, oh, no, I need to look after my co-worker.
I think it didn't help that he qualified 7th. I think if he'd have qualified 2nd and been taken out, we might have seen another reaction. But you're right, because at first, I thought it was George. I was like, oh, yeah, George. I did. I thought, oh, no. And then when
I was getting excited.
Well, yeah, to be fair.
It's gonna blow up.
But you're right. Yeah. Did he not react because he qualified 7th, or did he not react because he knows that next year that's his team and that's his teammate?
I don't think it's that. I mean, I made the joke already about the tinfoil hat wearers. I think I think the reason he was like that with Kimi is because it's not George.
Yeah.
You might as well see it as a racing error, kind of thing. And at the same time, Kimi's only a kid.
Yeah.
He didn't mean it. We're going to touch on the race anyway at some point, but it was just a rookie mistake.
Oh, you see that year on year. I mean, what better mentor than Max Verstappen for a young 18-year-old driver as well?
And this is the thing. So there's two things here. If you're running Mercedes, you've got George Russell. And I think his contract's around about 39 million or something like that. Max, I think, is 85.
Yeah.
So Max, you would expect Max to be moving for a similar price, but then if he's not happy at Red Bull, he would probably go for something close.
Mm-hmm.
I think from this conversation, it feels very clear that he's going to Mercedes, isn't he?
I mean, for Max, he's in a very unique situation. He is probably the best driver on that track, regardless.
For me, it was the
hell he wants, and last week, every team want him. Every team, if any team out there had the opportunity, they would snap him up in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But if you're Max Verstappen, where would you go? You're not going to go to Ferrari because it's a circus and they've got the 2 drivers already pretty locked. McLaren are pretty locked anyway with their 2 young drivers. You're not going to go to Aston Martin because that's probably a big risk, but you're going to get paid a lot of money. But you've got that allure of Newey. Mercedes is your other one, isn't it? And if you've got that chance at his stage in his career, it makes complete sense, doesn't it, to go?
He could go to Aston Martin, but like you said, there's a lot of risk. They just throw money at him because that seems to be their way of doing things. If there's a problem, throw money at it, go away. But you also know for a fact they're not going to get rid of Lance.
No, and if they've got a competitive car and they've only got one set of parts, Max is not going to play second fiddle. But he's going to, because it's the owner's son. So that's already his backup.
And if Mercedes are fully invested in Kimi, like it appears,
yep.
Granted, they've got George there. He's doing some brilliant work. Not going to take anything away from the guy. But let's start looking at long game. You've got a kid who's not even fresh out of school. He's pretty much still in school. He's only just got his driving license recently.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely crazy.
And I really like Kimi. And he is... I've already said it. He is going to be a world champion at some point soon. I don't think it'll be long. A couple of years. Why wouldn't you take one of the best drivers on that track and just be like, right, you know what? Let's put you two together. Let's see what we can build, and let's see what we can do for Mercedes long term.
I do think it's not just in racing, but in life in general, it's a massive undervalued thing that's called mentorship. And that is what makes greats be greats. That makes people be the ultimate. You can have all the talent, financial backing, hard work, but if you don't have that other person guiding you in the right direction, you could waste a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of money. And I mean, this is happening already. Look at Oscar Piastri and Mark Webber.
Yeah.
And you think of the problems that Lando Norris is having right now mentally. This could have been sorted out years ago if he'd have had the correct mentors at the correct times and the correct support mechanisms.
And Mark Webber wasn't the best F1 driver. However, he's been there and done it, so can offer advice, etc., etc. Here's a question then. Red Bull. That car is absolutely designed around Max Verstappen, because the second car, I know, shock, breaking news, because the second car syndrome is alive and well still, and we're on what, driver number? Well, I've lost count.
For Max, this is his 7th teammate.
Wow. So if Max does go to Merc, and you was Christian Horner, who do you put in that car?
I don't know. That's a very big question. Is it Archie McBald or whatever he is, the reserve driver who's in FP1 this week?
He's always out of a fucking Beano comic.
It does look like,
he does look like from a Beano comic, to be honest. But no offense. I don't know. I can't imagine a Red Bull team without Max Verstappen.
No.
That's the bottom. And it's always for me. It's Vettel, Webber, Max Verstappen. The
other thing to think here is, if Max is going to Mercedes, and Brundle said this as well. I saw it this afternoon. It is going to cause a domino effect, because if Max goes to Mercedes, that means likelihood is George is going elsewhere. George is in a similar position because he's doing so well. Quite a lot of teams will take him, so it's not like he's going to go without a job. He will likely find a seat next year. Bottas, it looks like, he's definitely going to Cadillac with his little sneaky things that he keeps doing.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Wherever Russell goes, likelihood is that driver may become available that he's replacing. I mean, if he goes to bloody Aston Martin or something like that, then you would pretty much guarantee that it's going to be Alonso that's released. And if that was the case, well, Red Bull will probably go for Alonso. We don't know. If Max is doing this, if this is happening, and it's going to happen in the next day or two, or get announced towards Silverstone, I would say the next few weeks are going to be really exciting with the amount of news that's going to come flying.
I'm going to predict something here. I'm going to call it. Right? Max Verstappen sounds for Mercedes. They announce it maybe this weekend or in a couple of weeks. Carlos Sainz.
Yeah, I knew it was going to say
that. He's leaving Williams and going to Red Bull. And George Russell. I already have Sainz
in the back of my head.
And George Russell's going back to Williams.
Ooh.
It could be a shout, because I can't see Alonso leaving. But I can't see.
He's not a Red Bull driver, Alonso. He's got Max Verstappen's got a big ego, I suppose, but Alonso, but then Max has got a big ego, so would a big ego fill a big ego? Yeah, possibly, but he's not good enough.
He's wound me up this week as well.
Who, Alonso?
He's proper wound. As in, I've been a dick this weekend every time he's been on the screen.
Why?
I saw a post on Facebook, and I think he'd put it on there saying, I'm still in the top 5 drivers on the track today.
Yeah.
And it annoyed me so much that I commented on his post.
Wow.
And went, mate, I'm not being funny. Lance Stroll's got more points than you in less races. And I just left it there. I was like, no.
Straight to the apex, making enemies with F1 drivers as well now.
Well, you got Tony offending countries. I'm just going to go straight for the drivers.
Why not? Why not?
But what was it? Yeah, because obviously formation lap happened. Like I said, we'll touch on the race. We know what happened with Sainz. And then afterwards, and they're sitting in there, and you hear George Russell say something really nice because they've got to wait 10 minutes. And George Russell's like, make sure that my engineers are getting water as well. It is hot. And then Alonso went, could really, needs to do something about the temperature. It's the temperature of the seat's not good. It's like 200 degrees in here. Normally, I'd just be like, yeah, I can imagine. It's very hot in there. It probably feels like you're sitting in a blast furnace. But because he'd said it and he'd wound me up that much this week, I went, it's not though. No, it's not though. Is it, Fernando? No, it's not 200 degrees. Is it, Fernando? No.
Someone's over exaggerating. Someone's someone's that big, but says they're that big.
But it got me thinking because it's like we do talk about Alonso, and I do say he's very good defensively. He can make his car 3 times wider very easily. But granted, he won 2 world championships back to back. Great. What's he done since then, though?
Nothing. And he won it in a dominant Renault. It was a dominant engine. Like, Red Bull then got the Renault engine afterwards. It was a dominant engine. So he won 2 championships. Great. Like you say, he's been to McLaren twice. He's been to Ferrari.
Been around.
He hasn't been with bad teams, really.
I don't believe the hype that is this pound for pound the best driver on the grid.
He is a very good driver. I will give him that.
Yeah.
His craftsmanship behind the wheel of a car is brilliant. Would I say he's still a top 5 driver? Arguably, you could, because when you look at the grid, there's only so many world champions on there, including him.
Well, name who you think's better than him on the current grid. Name who you think is better than him on the current grid. If you go through the drivers.
Driver or car and driver?
No, just drivers. Just drivers. Well, points-wise, correct.
If you're looking at data, Lance Stroll has more points in less races. Therefore, the percentage, he's doing better than Fernando.
You're right. You are right. But so Alex Albon, is he better than Fernando Alonso? No. Kimi Antonelli.
He's, again, very good driver, but
not better than Alonso. Okay. Kimi Antonelli.
No.
I kind of feel like we should take the rookies out of this, even though Fernando Alonso is a rookie.
No, he's a rookie. Yeah.
Well, I think we take the rookies out of this.
Right. Gasly. Pierre Gasly. No. Lewis Hamilton. Yes.
Yeah.
So we've got 1. Nico Hülkenberg.
No.
Liam Lawson.
No.
Charles Leclerc.
Yes.
Lando Norris.
Yes.
Esteban Ocon.
No.
Oscar Piastri.
Yes.
George Russell.
That's debatable. No.
No. From the Russell fan. Oh, right. Okay.
I'm on the fence, but probably more to.
Let's do half. I'll do half. That's the half one. So Carlos Sainz.
No. Well,
Right.
I'd probably say no.
Max Verstappen.
Yes.
Lance Stroll.
No.
Yuki Tsunoda.
No.
So, right, you've got 5.5 drivers that are better than
Verstappen. He sits at 6. But is that why he said it? Because he knows he's on that.
he's on that board.
He took the rookies out, which is like
I know
7.
I'm a top 10 F1 driver. There's 20 on the grid. It's you know. Like...
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm the 21st best driver on that grid.
And you know what? When I was at school, I was in the boxing team, and I always came second.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
I get it.
It's easy to say. It's easy to say, but yeah, interesting.
Third if it was a ref.
We'll see. Let's the allure with Aston Martin is Adrian Newey, isn't it? That's always going to be the allure.
It's brand. It's Adrian Newey. It's the fact that James has said quite a few times they are throwing money at that project left, right, and centre. Like, my God, if you want to go somewhere where money is no object, and Alonso goes in and says, "Oh well, so and so, I had this simulator. Okay, let's go buy one." Money is literally, they are chucking money at it. But while Lance Stroll is there, everyone is going to be number 2 driver. And
that's the thing. If Lance Stroll there, nobody's taking them serious.
No, they're not. And we've said this, haven't we? We've said that team will not be taken serious until Lawrence says, "Do you know what, Lance? You're not good enough. I want to go win something. You are not good enough." But that'll never happen because he's just carrying him through his career.
I've been wanting to say this for weeks, and I think it's every time we've talked about Lawrence and Lance. I don't know how well you guys know Richard Pryor films, but for some reason I imagine Andy knows what I'm thinking here. I will agree when I mention Lawrence and Lance remind me of the Richard Pryor film called The Toy.
Don't know where you're on about.
Absolutely not. What the fuck is going on?
Now, if I describe the plot here, it would nowadays be considered highly. It probably would come across as racist. Basically,
maybe not.
Oh no! Let's end it. Mute. He said they are.
No,
mute.
No. Stop. You've said it.
Basically,
you've said it.
Richard Pryor.
You've said it. So we cannot continue. You can't continue because you've just said one of the words that will get us cancelled and wreck everything.
Right. Saying the word racist is nothing. Okay, and
you just went. I think you just said it might be a bit racist, and then was going to explain it. No.
General gist.
No.
So listen. Listen.
I'm sorry, Richard Pryor, but you can keep your racism back in 1957 or wherever the fuck he came from.
Richard Pryor works in a toy shop. Okay.
Oh, it gets even better.
He's working night.
So there's a racist.
The owner of the toy. I think the guy that's in there is the owner of the toy shop, or he's just going. I can't remember exactly, but he's in the toy shop after hours, and he's with his son. His son, he said, he's loaded. He's got all the money under the world, and he says to his son, "Pick whatever toy you want. You can have it." Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll clean up to now.
Richard Pryor is messing about with one of these big toys. It's like a Wonder Wheel. It's a big inflatable wheel, and he goes spinning around, flying across, and it's knocking everything over in the shop, and he panics because he's broken everything. The kid sees him, and then the dad's like, "Right, so what do you want?" "I want that." And he went, "What, the Wonder Wheel? Right, okay, yeah, we'll get you the Wonder Wheel." He goes, No, I don't want the Wonder Wheel. I want him. I want that man. I want that man. So he pays Richard Pryor to entertain his son for, I can't remember, maybe a month or something like that. And they become really good friends. It's a buddy film. It genuinely is. But what I'm saying is the description of the plot could come across as racist because effectively he has bought a black man.
Yeah. Okay.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah. This is what I'm saying, why every time we talk about Lawrence and Lance, I think of the toy, because to me, it's just Lance was like, "I want to be an F1 driver and I want to be the best in the world." And Lawrence was like, "Okay, let's start throwing money at this and we'll make it happen." And it's not. And now Lance is just becoming a spoilt brat because Daddy probably went, "I've got you, Fernando Alonso. He's the 5th best. He's the top 5 of the drivers in the world. he will make you the best, and it hasn't happened. So Lance is getting a little bit pissed off, and then he's going, "I've got you, Adrian Newey. He will make your car the best in the world," and it hasn't happened like that. So Lance has gone and thrown something at someone or punched something. Either way, he's knackered his wrist, and not like some teenage boy does in his bedroom when the door's shut.
100%. I mean,
Allegedly.
that wasn't where I thought you was going. So well done to you.
Mate, it's not alleged. Every teenage boy will do in their wrist at some point when the door is shut. There's nothing allegedly about that.
I'll admit I was sweating halfway through your story, and I was thinking, "Oh my God, I was hovering over mute." But you're absolutely bang on. Literally,
mate. If I'm going to try and get edited or cancelled from this by Andy, I'm not going to go down that route because to me that kind of stuff's disgusting.
Oh yeah, I know you wouldn't. I know you.
Jesus, I've got morals, mate.
Yeah, well, exactly. But you're right. You're absolutely right. He's a wealthy businessman, and I think, like you've said it before, James, if you had the money, you would back John. Like, if money was no object, if you was a multi-millionaire, billionaire, whatever. But there's got to be a cut-off point as a clever businessman to say, it's just not working.
At some point, you've got to realise how much money you're essentially flushing down the toilet.
And then it becomes a joke and no one takes you seriously, which is what you've said. Why would Max Verstappen go to a team that you cannot take serious because they are carrying a second driver? They're carrying him. We've said the mechanics must be like, I dare say anything, but he is shit. He is terrible. His lap times are terrible. He's not consistent. Like you say, he goes in moods. Yeah, I totally agree.
I think the only thing that can get him out the seat is commercially. If he leaves that seat, Aston Martin Limited will go through the roof because the team will start doing well. The car's off the field. The brand being what it is. Amazon have just bought the Bond franchise. Who's going to be the next Bond? That's another thing that everybody is talking about right now. If they get rid of Lance Stroll, I think you're talking millions, if not billions, are going to be added to this brand.
They get two drivers, with the brand and everything else. They could be a very good team.
Yeah,
probably not top team tier kind of thing, but at least mid-grade, and eventually work their way up. But and Lance Stroll will be the next James Bond.
Oh God,
you heard it here.
Wow!
And on that
bombshell.
Let's have a quick drink, come back, and I don't know, maybe talk about the race like we're meant to. See you soon, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, you. Yeah, you that's listening right now. Thanks very much for tuning into this episode of Straight to the Apex, the Formula One podcast from CookieCast. If you're enjoying this episode, why not like, share, and subscribe? Whilst you're there, feel free to check out some of the other podcasts that CookieCast has to offer. If you like football, we've got a football podcast. NFL more your thing? Then the Laces Out podcast is for you. Maybe even a little bit of the wrestling. Just look for the Getting Over podcast on CookieCast. Maybe you want to listen to Andy's Darkest Timeline. It's there too. So, the F1 boys have probably got themselves a drink. It's time to get back to the action.
Go.
And we're back. Part 2, episode 12, season 4 of Straight to the Apex. Yeah, I even got the name of the podcast right. Nearly said the Darkest Timeline. I didn't. Speaking of that, Tony.
Yes. Weekly update.
Please.
There's still a bit like... there's still been no negotiation.
Oh, fuck me. Max Verstappen's going to have 2 more championships with Mercedes by the time you get this sorted.
Well, I mean, I can guess where the problem is still, but are you asking for more money? Is it an expenses issue? Is it just that you haven't arranged it because you're Tony and you're so laid back and you're like, whatever?
Yeah, could be that.
Could be that. I mean, that's not in your nature, Tony, so I don't believe that.
Hey, I thought we were going to go and watch a certain movie that came out in cinemas pretty soon.
I'm free Saturday. That's all I'm
Johnny
saying.
Blue. Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's discuss.
We can sort all the expenses with Andy afterwards.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of popcorn.
Toffee,
Basically
though.
all the snacks, Andy, so...
Like toffee popcorn.
Oh, got to be
we'll
toffee
go for the good
popcorn.
beer, Andy. We're going for the top dollar popcorn.
None of that bullshit, salt and fucking sweet.
Yeah.
Butter kiss toffee popcorn.
If we're getting ice cream, we're talking fucking Ben and Jerry's.
Oh,
we're talking the good shit. We're not stopping at Aldi on the way to Odeon just to get their M&Ms.
We're doing it good and
M&Ms are like £1.25 in any shop, but they're £7 in Odeon. We're going for them.
And munchies. And munchies.
Oh yeah, munchies.
And munchies and M&Ms.
I wonder if you could potentially go to a certain Five Guys and then go and watch the movie.
I think that's only fair. Really?
But take the Five Guys into the cinema. Could that be done?
Yeah.
I mean, Bonnie Blue's done it with more than Five Guys.
Move on.
She's done a lot. Let's just say she's done a lot. She's done a lot more than Five Guys. She's had Burger King. She's had McDonald's. She's had
Wendy's.
Them all. And more.
Dope burger though.
No.
Neither have I.
No, we
know. Need to get that, man.
We
know.
What
burger should I go for?
Dope burger.
Smoked dope. Smoked dope.
It's a good one. I used to like the black and blue.
You know what I'm really tempted by? And I don't know if you guys have been. Yankee Land.
Not been since it had a pink car on the roof.
You don't know if we've ever been to Yankee Land.
No, I know you've been to it previously. We've all been to the one with the car on top. But that's gone now, and it's in town.
Oh, I thought you meant like the original one in town.
No, the one in town. There's one in town.
Yeah, but there was it was in a different place before.
It was. It used to be better. I mean, I haven't been, but it used to be better.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, it used to be better.
Yeah, Yankee Land used to be good.
Oh, Yankee Land was like top. That was a treat if you got taken to Yankee Land.
Yeah, you get a packet of chips. It's like it's like getting sherbet dip, but they've replaced the sherbet with chip spice, and you get a couple of chips to dip in it.
Oh,
see, my mum and dad took me, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the ambience. I didn't like the food. I didn't like the car on top.
How have you been to Florida so many times if you didn't like the ambience of an American diner in Hull?
Fucking ambient, mate. It's a fast food fucking restaurant. You're not going to the Ritz.
That I think it was because.
Imagine my despair.
I was a child. I was a child, and let's just say the autism was extremely strong at that stage.
Let's just say George Russell isn't the only person that might get replaced at Mercedes.
Is it because it's similar to like when you went to McDonald's and found out they'd taken the big old pirate ship out from the top floor?
Oh, gutted.
That was a bad time.
That was a bad time.
I don't think I even made it that far.
Of course you didn't.
You never went to McDonald's when it had the big old pirate ship upstairs?
I don't think so, no.
Oh, James, just move on because I'm getting more and more irate.
You know what?
It's just like, I mean, if I mention the ending story, are you going to get upset like me and Mark probably are straight away?
No, but St Andrew's Quay, when the cinema was there and the bowling alley was there.
UCI.
Megabow, Jazz Bell Browns, Deep Pan Pizza.
Those were good times.
UCI cinema, what a cinema.
McDonald's
sinking, but what a cinema.
Quality.
Anyway,
Let's just come out of that trip down memory lane.
Yeah.
For 5 minutes.
Nostalgia of the city of Hull, which I would like to think the majority of our listeners know nothing about, because it's not just us three and our significant others that listen to this. Did
International.
anyone watch practice? Good. Moving on. Qualifying.
Didn't.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't watch qualifying?
He
I
didn't watch
watched
qualifying.
bits. Little bits. Lando Norris smashed out of the park with a perfect lap.
Lando was smashing it most of the weekend.
He was.
But why?
You mean, but why?
Did he have a point to prove after the previous weekend?
Nah. No, I don't think he was trying to prove anything. I think it was just... No disrespect to Lando. Obviously, Lando's very open about his mental health, and I really like that about the guy. Because I think you should talk. Granted, I have a habit of not doing it. The issue is I don't know that I'm not doing it. But what we always say is you get out there, you talk and stuff like that. Lando's very good at that. And a lot of other drivers have supported him massively because of it. Like Seb Vettel, Lewis Hamilton's, they're all supporting the guy massively. He knows he's got his own demons to fight. He is doing it. It takes a long time to do it. But I think some of the stuff that helped Lando this week is Piastri's done that thing like he did in Monaco, where if he's not happy with how he's done in practice, something like that, he gets frustrated.
Hmm.
And I mean, when at Monaco, he wasn't great. The amount of times he'd come off the track, or he'd exceed track limits, or he'd do this, or he'd do that, but it was never at the same place. So it wasn't like he was struggling on one particular turn. It's just, I think, and he did it this weekend as well. And I think for Piastri, he is a very laid back guy, he genuinely is. But I think as soon as he gets a little bit frustrated, it just all starts to crumble very quickly.
He ends up chasing it, and I don't think he's good at chasing it. If he gets a setup right and starts strong, he's good at maintaining that. If he gets a setup wrong and ends up chasing setup, he can't then turn it around. Yeah, I think Piastri had one of his Piastri weekends. Yeah.
Another way of looking at it is it's like golf. You make one small mistake on one golf swing, and then your very next time you're at the ball, you stand at the ball and you go, right, am I addressed right? Is it right in my stance? Have I got my grip right? Have I done this? Have I done that right? Sort your grip out, do this right. Your backswing, have you got the club facing up? Have you got the face up? And all of a sudden you just overanalyze everything and you fuck that shot. So then you go to your next shot and you do all that overanalysis again, when all you've got to do is hit the fucking ball. Now, anyone who listens to this, if they play golf, they know exactly what I'm saying. And it doesn't matter how long you play it and how good you get at it. As soon as you get in your head, that is it. You are fucked.
Yeah.
And I think that's Piastri's biggest issue. Really good driver, but if he makes one little error somewhere, he overanalyzes that much that he makes more errors and it just snowballs.
Mm-hmm.
Saw it on the race. I mean, he made a very aggressive start, very good start. But then he made some dick moves, so much so that he got chowed at in the race. He was told, look, you don't do that shit.
Yeah.
He said, what you did at turn 4, that's not acceptable. So much so that at the end of the race, he apologised. He said, yeah, look, sorry about turn 4, I really shouldn't have done it. Yeah.
It could have ended badly.
It genuinely could. And I'm not going to lie. We'll come to that in a minute.
Yeah.
Qualifying. Other than Lando absolutely smashing it, what else have you got?
Russell was nearly out in Q1. I think he made a mistake on one of his laps. But Sainz out in Q1, massive shock considering how well they've been doing. I think the others, was it Stroll or Sonoda, Hulkenberg, no real shocks. Trying to think Q2 and Q3. There was a car? Oh yeah, there was a red flag for the car fire from sparks from Hamilton's car in Q2. So we had a short red flag moment, which was a bit weird. Why is grass fires a thing this year? It seems to be happening. The heat's on and there's a grass fire. All I'll say is what I've got is how good the Ferrari looks. They've downplayed this new flaw, and there was in practice it was shite.
I was going to say, considering practice, I think it was P2 or something. Hamilton was in, and they were sorting out his gearbox, and Leclerc was in, and they were sorting out his floor. And I said, this is not going to be a good week for Ferrari. Whatever they did, they were fucking fast.
I listened to a podcast this morning with Andrew Benson, who's the BBC F1 chief sports writer, and he said every part on that floor is new. Like every little winglet, every little vein, every little tunnel, it's all completely brand new. And when they first put it on the Ferrari, they didn't know how to set up the rest of the car. And now they've got to grips with that. They were actually going to see a bigger step with a Ferrari than what they're talking about. So now whether they can do that for multiple races, I don't know. But yeah.
Well, my predictions now then.
Yeah, I'd change it now, yeah. The only other thing I've got is the ending to Q3. Really? What about you, Tone?
Nothing really. Nothing.
With the Gasly spin bringing out the yellows and it all kind of ending prematurely.
I did like Piastri's comments about that.
What did Piastri say?
I think it was something along the lines of, fucking hell, even when I'm not with them, Alpine are still fucking me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, would Max have finished higher up? Would Piastri have got pole? Piastri thinks he would have done. I don't think he would have done. I think, like you said, Norris absolutely nailed it.
Norris was in the right headspace.
Yeah, it was.
And I think it was Jensen who said it a couple of weeks ago. All Norris needs is a good win, and he can get back on track. He had a really good qualifying. He had some very good practice sessions. He had a very good qualifying session. Did he maybe make a slight error at the start of the race? Maybe, but it wouldn't have mattered which way it'd have gone. It would have been tricky because, well, I tell you what, let's do what we should do. How qualifying finished. So Norris came pole, followed by Charles Leclerc, Oscar Piastri in third, Hamilton fourth, Russell fifth, Lawson sixth. As much as we hate the guy, or dislike the guy, whatever you want to say, he had a good weekend.
Yeah.
Verstappen seventh, Bortoletto eighth, Bortoletto as well. Kimi Antonelli ninth, Pierre Gasly's 10th, and Alonso came 11th.
Funny
so
that.
Not the top five.
No.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah. Interesting. So we get to the race.
Yep.
Formation lap kicks off.
Yep.
For 19 of the drivers. So everyone moves on, driving along. They're doing little weaves and stuff like that, getting some heat into the tyres, getting some grip onto the tarmac, everything else that they're normally doing, all that kind of stuff. And then the camera goes back to the starting grid, and Carlos Sainz is still sat in his car because he can't get it into first gear. So he can't get it out of first gear. The engineers sit there for about 30 seconds staring at it. And you're like, what are you doing? This is a short track. They are coming back. Get him out of the way. They eventually decide maybe we should push him. Now, granted, he probably had to try and get out of gear, but the commentators even said there is a button inside that the driver can press and then they can push it along. No one decides to do that until way too late. They make the decision, but at the same time, the stewards have made the decision, right, it's a delayed start. So it's another 10 minutes, and then there'll be another formation lap, and there'll be one lap removed from the race. They all start coming into the grid, and next thing you know, Sainz is actually driving around the track. And you're like, the fuck?
It was a farce.
So Sainz obviously had to go into the pit. There is no way he could go back to the grid, because even I was like, that's fine. He's moving now, but you're going to have to stop and then start. And if he stops, is he going to start again? And evidently, he wouldn't have done, because he goes into the pit and then his car sets on fire, basically.
Yeah. It looked like the brakes were stuck on, didn't it? Because he'd done that lap, and they'd got that hot, so the rear brakes were stuck on, and it was on fire. I mean, it was all a bit of a farce, wasn't it? Like you say, the marshals were like, "Can we touch the car? Can't we touch the car?" The mechanics were all stood on the grass veg, and there was like, "Well, can we touch the car?" No one really knew what to do, and then the commentators were like, "Well, they're coming around now, so like." They had a 30-second window to get that car off the grid, and because they've messed about so much, that's it, a bot start. It was a bit of a farce.
Yeah. So that happened. It was a bad fire as well, because obviously they had to push, because he pretty much got to the other end of the pit lane. So they had to push him back. Now, it was mainly because he couldn't stop. So they had to push him back all the way. But while they're pushing him back, there are still two guys with fire extinguishers fighting those. It's like the fire wasn't going to go out. But I mean, Williams didn't have a good weekend in the end either, because I mean, eventually I think Alex went in something and then just said, "Yeah, you can't go back out."
Yeah, double DNF.
Race start. Pat, do another formation lap. Yeah. A lot of very good starts. Norris had a good start. Leclerc had a good start. Piastri had a good start. Now, Norris had to fend off Leclerc. And, it's a tough call, because Ferrari were looking good. And what do you do if you're in pole? Because it's like kind of, I need to cut off Leclerc because he'll take me. But if I cut off Leclerc, Piastri gets an advantage. But if I block off Piastri, Leclerc's probably got a better advantage because he's on the dirty side of the track. So he's got more grip and he's in second position. And they're turning right. He had a tough call. He managed to defend against Leclerc. Piastri very nearly got him. And then pretty much that entire race was just an arm wrestle after that. Stressful to watch, exciting at the same time. They did get ballsy. Piastri was driving in dirty air a hell of a long time. He did lock up a few times. And then he made a couple of daft lunges, one of them on turn 4. And then I think straight after that, he did it on turn 6. And it was that ridiculous that everybody, all the commentators, and you can pretty much guarantee everyone on the track was all sitting there going, "You don't do that on turn 6.
No.
And then obviously he got that rollicking. Whatever you did there, you don't fucking do that again. I was stressed, because I'm sitting there thinking someone needs to fucking say something, because otherwise one of them's going to take the other one out again. And this is a unique weekend, because there is already one Red Bull car out, because I've just realised I've messed out a massive bit in the first lap. Max is driving along, minding his own business. Kimi Antonelli is driving along, finds a gap. Channeled his inner Ayrton Senna of the, if you see a gap and you don't take it, are you really an F1 driver? He took it. It was the wrong gap. Everyone started slowing down. He had to swerve out even more. He couldn't then actually get onto his brakes because of the turn and went straight into Max.
Yeah.
And that was one Mercedes down and one Red Bull down straight away.
Yep.
The good thing was both drivers was fine. It was also good to see that Max checked up on Kimi in a better way than when he checked up on Hamilton in 2021, where he checked he was all right by punching him in the face. He's done that a lot, actually.
Yeah, he has. Yeah.
Yeah. Then was it Ocon he punched as well?
It was him and Ocon had a bit of a pushy shovey match, didn't they?
Yeah, he punched Ocon when he was getting weird. Again, just to check Ocon was all right.
Oh, obviously. He's a gentleman, Max. Absolute gentleman.
Yeah. Threatened George Russell that time.
Yeah.
Again, probably just checking that his hearings, but I don't know. I think he's just a caring person. But yeah, Max checked up on Kimi. It was nice to see. Kimi apologised both to his team, to Max, everything else. I think Max just realised, yes, it's a rookie thing. It could have changed part of the game because it could have then resulted in a safety car and another restart and everything else. But yeah, how stressed were you guys watching the McLarens?
Stressed.
Yeah, I thought you're right. I thought he was over the line a couple of times. It was nice to see him actually allowed to battle. But then when Piastri was almost like, I think we touched on it in the first half, it was almost desperation, wasn't it? And it was getting to that line where it was right, Oscar. I'm not saying his head's gone because he's not that type of person, but it's almost like you're pushing it, you're going too far. And then the pitted Norris, because I think Piastri was desperate to get by Norris, so he got the first pit stop. Then, to me, a clever racer would have gone, do you know what? I'll save my tyres a little bit more. And then when Norris pits, I'll absolutely gun it. And they said to him, right, show your true pace now. And he didn't have Norris's pace because he actually come out further behind Norris than when they pitted. So, yeah, it was over the line, I think. If I was a McLaren fan, I'd have been fit saying call it off now. But like I say, fair play to Zach Brown, fair play to Andrea Stella. They let him race to a point, and then, like you say, they give him a scolding and said, right, no. So
I mean, it was a unique week. I mean, you look at it as the team principle. Last week, one of your drivers got took out. You effectively halved the points you could have got in that race. To a degree, obviously, there's like a 7-point difference between first and second, but either way, you're losing out on at least 18 points. And your two closest competitors, or two of your closest competitors, being Mercedes and Red Bull, suddenly, that little bit closer. And then the very next race, Mercedes take out Red Bull, but results in one Red Bull driver being out there and one Mercedes driver. Now, granted, when you're looking at the Red Bull driver, it's Yuki Tsunoda, and no disrespect to that kid, there isn't a threat there because he's driving a car built for Max. And you've got George Russell.
Well, look what happened later in the race. He was it Colapinto, and he got a 10-second penalty. So, like you say, Red Bull, that isn't the Red Bull that's a threat. So
no. So it's that kind of, granted, let the drivers race and stuff like that. Neither of them are still in contention for. It's not like Piastri's running away with it still.
Yeah.
And Norris could still take it back. So absolutely, let them race, but you make it perfectly clear it's clean.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. You do any dick moves, I will put it in team orders, and you will stay where the fuck you are. But yeah, it was nice to see. What was funny was, I would say for 90% of that race, we only ever watched them two.
Yeah.
We'll be driving around, didn't have a fucking clue what was going on behind them, because I think at one point, when Leclerc was in third, I think at one point it was like 32 seconds behind them.
Oh, I mean, the pace the McLarens were pushing at, they, like you say, they had such a big gap. They were lapping everyone, and they caught there was 4 or 5 cars all battling. And obviously, Piastri got pushed off onto the grass because one of the back markers didn't see him. Yeah. And that kind of ruined the end of the race for me, because I felt like Piastri was starting to close the gap on Norris again. Whether Norris was just taking it steady, I don't know. But then we had all this traffic, and I think Piastri got held up more than Norris, and Norris was able to finish comfortable instead of getting that battle again in part 2. Or was that McLaren called it off and was like, right, You pushed it, you ain't passing. It was a bit of a dab end to the race, considering it started so well.
There was some weird. It seemed fairly fair between the two drivers. Not that anyone was doing anything dodgy in the pit, but Norris's first pit, he got in, and it was a slow pit because I think it was the front left tyre that struggled with it. So we're like, shit, we need Piastri to get a shit pit as well, because otherwise this could change it. And Piastri gets a shit pit. Again, front left tyre. Goes for a second pit, and it's like, Norris gets a nice fast pit. It's like, brilliant, right. Now I want Piastri to get a shit pit. And he didn't. I think he was slightly faster. But again, when he came out, stuck behind a couple of back markers, and it just held him up. And I don't think he would have ever got into DRS, even if he had a couple more laps. I don't think he'd have quite got there. But yeah, good race. If you're just watching McLaren, Bartoletto, he had a good race. Fernando Alonso was congratulating him because his manager, which I never actually really knew before.
Yeah,
Lawson. There was some good results there.
There was, definitely.
So how it finished. This is the awkward bit now because my phone's not going to work because it's a Duke. Race result is Norris came first, Piastri second, Leclerc third, Hamilton fourth. That didn't even really get discussed. There was quite a lot of stuff that happened in that race that didn't get discussed. Lawson finishing sixth, George Russell fifth, Alonso seventh, which isn't top five. Bortoletto eighth, Hulkenberg ninth, Esteban Ocon 10th. And yeah, then a lot of other guys who didn't do that well.
Yep.
But Silverstone this week.
Oh yeah.
Oh, come on. So where's the enthusiasm in that, man? He's like...
I mean, the weather forecast isn't great, which is mad considering the weather we've had in this country for the last 2 weeks.
Awesome.
But that excites me. I want to see a wet Silverstone because, I mean, obviously for people that are there, it'd be a bit damp, but we've also got a rugby game at 3:00 on the Sunday, which isn't great timing. But I can't wait for it. I hope it starts sunny and rains, or rains and then gets sunnier. I hope it's Silverstone's just got this magic about it lately. I don't think there's been a shit Silverstone race for a long time. Now I've said that, it's going to be a shit Silverstone race, but it just something about it. And do you know what? I'm excited for the British drivers. I'm excited for Ferrari. I'm excited for McLaren. Will Merck be in the mix because they're not so good when it's really hot? So if it's going to be a bit cooler.
I think everyone gets excited for me, Silverstone is one of those prestigious tracks that everyone gets excited about. You know, there's not many of them. You know, there's a lot of tracks out there and stuff like that, but your Silverstones, believe it or not, your Monacos, Spa, they're all the kind of races that everyone always gets excited about because they're the ones they've just got everything. And every driver gets excited about Silverstone. And it's going to be an exciting one anyway because there's a lot of British drivers there. And as well as that, there could be a massive announcement being made.
Yeah.
I mean,
Tony's doing a podcast with Andy. Is that the announcement that's going to be made?
That's going to be the one. Yeah, Martin Brundle's going to go up and interview the winner of said race and ask them what their thoughts are about the Tony/Andy collaboration that is.
What could we call it? The Raw Cookie? Raw Cookie!
Raw Cookie Dough.
The Raw Cookie Dough podcast. Oh, Andy, pay us now. The Raw Cookie Dough Podcast. Boom.
You had it here first. Show me the money.
If I could drop this mic, I would, but it's on a stand. I can't. Nice.
Wow.
There we have it. Oh, Max Verstappen.
Rawest form.
What do you think of the Raw Cookie Dough Cast? Oh, what a name. Sometimes I have real good ideas, and I've used my one-up of the year already.
Yep, and we also know who one of Mark's predictions clearly are for this week. So, predictions.
Yeah.
Mark, you had... I'm hoping I've got this right because I seem to struggle reading my handwriting nowadays. You had Max, Piastri, and Russell.
Yes.
You had 20 points. You got Piastri giving you 22 points.
Correct.
I had Piastri, Russell, Norris. I got fuck all, going from 11 to 11. Tony, you did what I should have been doing and stuck to your guns because you know for a fact as soon as you don't, it'll happen. Went Norris, Piastri, Max, getting you 5 points, going from 7 to 12. So I am now very narrowly at the back. Charlie had Norris, Piastri, and Russell, giving her 5 points, taking her from 3 points to 8. But we never got the FIA's predictions. So the FIA stays on 15 points. I've already written my predictions. Not that you can.
I've already written man.
So,
And I've already got mine.
what?
Oh, they're in his head. So we could be here for another 10 minutes.
Yeah, I've already got mine, and it is whatever Mark says.
No, I don't do that.
So host goes first.
Yep.
I have gone Norris for the win.
Yep.
Piastri second.
Yep.
Russell third.
Okay.
And I am going to go with Tony. Business theory of I will go with whatever Max says.
I'm going to go with Norris to win. Piastri second. And Max Verstappen third.
Ooh.
Oh God.
What?
What have you? What have you? What's your prediction?
Right, I've not changed them, honestly.
Okay.
I know I've got a 10-point lead to Tony, but there's no influence in that whatsoever. I've not copied Tony. I've not copied you. I, however, have gone for Norris for the win. Oscar Piastri second. And I'm feeling nostalgic, and it's going to be a red podium for Lewis Hamilton at Silverstone.
I would like to see that. I'd actually like to see 3 British drivers on the podium.
I nearly went for 3 British drivers. I was toying with that, but didn't that happen last year?
Happened for qualifying, I think.
Correct. Well remembered. And that right there is why we keep you on that this podcast. That's the only reason. That knowledge right there.
I've got Beth's predictions.
Oh, okay.
And she's gone for Lando Norris to win. Lewis Hamilton second.
Ooh.
And George Russell third.
For the Bants.
I've got Charlie's as well, obviously, because sometimes, we actually talk to each other. We don't just both sit in the same room watching TikToks and send each other the funny ones to then get the response of, oh yeah, I saw that one a minute ago. Charlie has gone Norris for the win. Russell second.
Oh.
Hamilton third. And then for some reason, she's also gone for fourth.
Okay.
The guru does what she wants.
Who's she gone for fourth?
Albon.
Albon. Do you know what? We get in trouble.
Bit of tie, British tie there. I like it.
We get in trouble for making rules up on the fly, but I will say this now. If Charlie gets Norris, Russell, Hamilton, Albon, she can have 100 points. Literally, 100 points. She literally goes from 8 to 108. Done.
I mean, it's never been 100's never been obtained ever in any season.
No. I was going to go 50, and I thought, do you know what? If she gets first, second, third, fourth, and it's them 4 drivers, 100 points, she's won this season. Because let's be honest, she normally scores 1 or 2 a week, so we might just catch her by the end. But 100 points.
Yeah.
Albon's a right curveball.
This is when something happens in like the formation lap. I don't know. Lance has a strop or something and takes out himself and 15 other drivers.
It could happen. Like I said, this is the beauty of Silverstone. It's such a good track. Whether it's raining, dry, it's such a good track. We slag tracks off about the cars. This is a track that actually suits these cars because the ground effect on the high speed works. But not every track's like Silverstone. So,
So, lads, I think we're done for another week.
Yep.
Back again next week to discuss Silverstone and look at predictions for Spa, which I'm going to. Whoop, whoop.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm there. No idea whereabouts, but I'll be there.
Well, Anna and Dean are at Silverstone and they've hired a camper van this weekend, so they're going like full experience. If them two do listen, have a good time.
Yeah.
Let's hope it doesn't piss it down then. Bad. Because it might get stuck.
Nah, I hope they have a good time. I hope everyone enjoys the race, in fairness. But yeah, on that note then, guys, as always, thanks for listening. Thanks for putting up with us. Big shout to Andy and Cookie Cast again for keeping us on their airwaves or whatever you want to call it nowadays. Again, leave likes, subscribes, comments, feedback. Share the love. Tell everyone about us. If they don't want to listen to you, then pin them down, waterboard them a little bit, and then stick the earbuds into their ears and force them to listen to it until they do love us. Stockholm Syndrome is a thing, and it works. Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
So there we go. What do you think's that? Another one done, and another one gone. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, thanks for being here. If you haven't, before you leave us, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. You don't have to do them all. Maybe just click a like. Just a little like. Subscribe if you haven't, do one. Check out the website. That's another one you can do. thecookiecast.com. There we have social media links and an email button, and that way you can get in touch with anyone you want. Anybody. I mean, on the podcast, I don't mean anyone in the world. Anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. I will see you next time. Until then, I'm going to say bye. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to this episode of CookieCast.